Welcome back, fam, to the Threshold Agenda. It is 4th of July weekend in 2025. I hope you had a nice week, working or not. Hope you had a safe week, blessed week, um, and that we continue to grow on this world and have another chance to be a better version of ourselves than we were yesterday. Today's topic is relationship maintenance. Yeah, this is a big ordeal with a lot of people. It seems to be harder to maintain. A lot of people don't consider themselves maintenance workers, but you really need to have an ability to maintain something. We do it a lot, but for some reason in relationships, we fall short. Um, and I don't know why we do it. And I say we, I'm included in that also. But I will say, being on the receiving end, it is a very traumatizing uh, thing, and it's very slow. It's not even instant. It's a slow thing. I'm one of those people that usually be chasing folks. I was, since I was little, I was never the popular one. And so I would spend a lot of time going out trying to be around people, and some people you end up wearing out your welcome because they really didn't want you around that much. They was nice, but you starting to get a little bit on their nerve, right? But I think if you care about anything, you invest in it. With, I mean, we do it with money. You do it with your job, or you want to stay employed, so you continuously show up, and you will call. You don't want to be a no call, no show, so you will make sure if you're going to be sick, you report this, and you don't want to get in trouble. We do it as children, especially. We did it a lot when we like I said, when I did it. I would always try to be friends with this person or these people. And when you try to fit in, you're trying to become something. So you will call, and most people who first get them when they first started getting their boyfriend and girlfriends, they want to talk to them all the time. And you do kind of wear out your welcome. But maintenance is it takes a little bit of skill and experience to get it right. And even when you do it, you don't get it right all the time. But I believe that the more time we spend in actually cultivating the relationship, the stronger the bonds, which in turn you end up creating family members outside of bloodlines because you invested so much time in them that you begin to finish each other's sentences, even though, especially in an intimate relationships, we spend a lot of time doing that, and you begin to finish each other's sentences. You begin to know what they want without them asking, and it becomes a little bit more effortless the more time you invest in the forefront. In the beginning of it, it takes a lot more of that punch out of the worrying, about whether or not they have adequate care. As long as you pay attention and spend a lot of time being understanding versus understood, we get along a lot better, right? Um, I think when you put forth the effort in something, you have to show up though. You have to show up when you put forth effort. It's not a long distance thing. One of the simplest things we do, we can call, you can text. That text is so important, impersonal. You could text somebody, but no, they want the person needs to hear your voice. But how many of you out there actually go through a bout of a lot of people going through depression right now? And I think the reason why is because we have a lot of people who claim to be something to us, yet they don't ever try to actually invest in us. Usually it's one person out of the group. If you're a group of people, it's usually one person doing a lot more of the heavy lifting with investing into the group and making sure everybody stay together, making sure we stay on top of events. We going somewhere, you always have that one person that'll call you versus you. I've seen many family members that do it as one sided, and people get used to it. I myself, my family members and people who I grew up with, they don't respond to me at all. And I'm not doing this to have a sad moment. I'm doing this to show that I have experience with chasing people and then getting to a point to where I call it marking. I will mark you when I get to the point to where I cut you off. And usually you have a lot of grace before that I give, but and I don't do it I don't do something that I don't want somebody else doing to me. So reciprocation is a must. I've been in a lot of relationships that I thought was supposed to be lifelong, but they turned out to be seasonal. And you put in those relationships, you put a lot of time and effort, and I put energy and stuff, and then all of a sudden, that person basically showed me that they didn't even want it. And like, why do you tell me that from the beginning? I'm sitting up here, man. I'm giving you time. I'm spending money. I'm coming here, and that's even in intimate relationships. Those are the worst because that's supposed to be an exclusive relationship. Just to find out that person didn't even value you that high, and then you put all of that effort in there just for you don't even get a refund, right? This is bad, so I believe that relationships should be invested in and maintenance is a must, but we don't really practice it. We seem like we mostly practice the getting into the relationship. And this is what marriage is. A lot of people think of marriage, this, you find somebody and then you get married. And then for a lot of them, they don't really have the conversation of what happens after the wedding. That's a lot of time, that a lot and me especially as a man, we don't get a lot of venues where or platforms to where we can actually express ourselves. Women are usually a lot better at keeping up with their friends. They talk a lot more, they vibe a lot, they spend a lot more time, and they actually request this and even in intimate relationships, but men find it a little bit harder, and I think some of it is taught. I think, I grew up, I didn't have any male, mentors or anybody to lead me in the right way. There's very few men that would show up, but usually the men that was only around because they was trying to get to the women that were around. I was around a bunch of females, mostly when I was growing up. So the males that were there, they was out seeking other things, and they really wouldn't teach. They couldn't teach me anything that positive that I think I could carry forward and actually use to build ourselves up. Everything that they was doing was either stupid, foolish, immature, and that's because they weren't taught either. So, and that's for a whole nother story. But it is something that I've noticed in a lot of young men's lives that we don't really have that many teachers to teach us how to maintain relationships. We're told a lot of things about what we're supposed to do in the beginning, in the front end, but it's that maintenance that keeps you grounded. Notice how a lot of our elders don't have any friends. And it's not just because the people end up dying off, but they don't really have any, they've never maintained anything. So by the time you get old, it's getting to a point to where you're meeting fewer and fewer people that can even relate to you. So it's going to be harder to maintain something. We really need to share information and teach our children how to maintain a relationship over time, right? It takes two to make it, but one to break it. Ain't that the truth? Right? There's only so many times a person can really accept or is willing to take rejection. I know I get to the point to where, like I said, I will mark you. By the time we get there, I'll mark you and I'll cut you off. And unfortunately, sadly to say, I've gotten to a point to where I don't really show that much emotion about it anymore. I used to be, I don't want to say God, I don't want to say that my heart is hardened, but I get to a point to where I'm starting to be more logical about it and less emotional when it comes to who is close to me and who I will and will not put forth effort anymore. And there are a lot of people who really be wanting me to put forth effort. I will not do it. I'm getting too old. I'm getting to the point to where I'm realize I have the experience to recognize leeches when I see them. Some of them are still clever enough to get up under the skin and uh, and get and hide until they've fed enough. But I believe that v- relationships that are valuable, it will reciprocate. That's like with any investment. Don't want to invest money into something, and you keep putting money in, you can never get any back. No dividends, no yield, nothing. It's like you gotta like you putting it down the toilet. You want to return, reciprocate, give me something back, feed me so I can continue on in this journey, in this relationship. So I just want to put out there, and I want to ask, how many people are out there suffering right now? Put in the comments. Um, Anybody, tell us or just tell us your story. We need to hear more about how people relate. And was there any? What did you do? What did you have to do, or what did they do? Did somebody come back and actually try to fix it, mend the relationship? Did they? put forth the effort? Was it a situation where you found out something bad happened and that's what they were hiding from? Or was it that you've just found out that the people just didn't care about the relationship and that's why they let it go by the wayside? Put your could you please help me and put your story in the comments. Other than that, I want to actually say to you that we that put forth I would advise us, as a people to put forth the effort to maintain the relationship, not just get it, but you need to figure out how we keep that staying power alive, right? This is my thought today. Please like, share, and subscribe. Podcast, so we can get a lot more people to get in the conversation because I really want the traffic. I really want to know what you think about everything. Other than that, you have a very lovely night. Peace and be blessed.